Wednesday evening, everybody, and welcome to Bowden's in College Town Inside Seminole Baseball. Eric Luallen here with you tonight, and alongside is Seminole head coach Jarrett, as we are smack dab in the middle of this 2026 Florida State baseball season, and what a start the Noles are off to. 5-1 in Atlantic Coast Conference play. Let's hear it for the Noles. Sitting in first place in the Atlantic Coast Conference and coming off of a weekend series win over NC State. Second straight weekend series against a top 15 opponent, and after sweeping Wake Forest up on the road in Winston-Salem, we get the job done against the North Carolina State Wolfpack. And Link, we'll get right into this. We've got some highlights from the weekend for the people here in Bowden's, and I tell you what, I thought the starting pitching again was excellent for you this past weekend, as we kind of take a look at Wes Mendez showing you how to throw a proper changeup.
Yeah, I mean, we've got some really good changeups with Mendez and Beard, and Bryson Moore actually has it. But those two lefties on the front and the changeup, exceptional. And then the power Miles has to all fields, and we see that on display a lot. His growth, exceptional. You'll hear from him later. And Beard's thrown some amazing outings, and I think initially coming off the illness he had, it just took him a little while to really get going because his ramp-up essentially stopped for really 2 weeks. But he's been great, and there's another one of Miles.
The power that Miles Bailey has, it's just so unique. And obviously you look at him and you see what's there, but it's just such a unique tool for him.
No, it is, and we have a lot of data, even from Major League representatives, that talk about the bat speed he has is in the upper end of Major League Baseball's categories of bat speed and the way they measure that. So you're talking about just such a rare combination of strength and power and looseness that allows that generation of bat speed.
And another guy you added in the offseason, Braden Dowd, had a grand slam, which we just saw up there. Now we get to Bryson Moore, your Sunday starter, and he's a guy during his time at Virginia, you knew there was a lot there, but he's been a good addition. Kelvin Paulino we'll talk about in a little bit, one of your freshmen. First career home run, it's a great feeling when that happens.
Yep, and he was due. Like, we've watched him pound some balls, and it was a matter of time. So that was a key moment in the game, quite frankly, but a big moment for him personally.
And you're a defensive coach. You were a great defensive player when you played.
I wouldn't go that far, but they stuck me out there a lot.
You got to love seeing a game end on a double play.
Yeah, anytime you turn a double play, we put that in the above average play category. And I like to talk about the plays that we make throughout the course of a game or even a scrimmage that are in that category of something special. And anytime you record 2 outs in one play, we always put that in the bucket. And that was, I think, Carter, unassisted, turned that thing. So good way to end it.
As far as NC State goes, they came in here. Obviously, you're looking at a top 10 caliber team.
No doubt.
I know you talked a lot about their starter on Friday, Marone,
yeah.
How good he was, just how unique his abilities are, and the look of what he did.
His arm release, if the pitcher's rubber is the starting point of this, and then the middle of the pitcher's rubber is clearly the center, how far offset you are with your release from the middle of the rubber gives you a lot of feedback on what this is going to look like. Jamie Arnold, if I remember right, was 2.75 feet off the middle of the rubber with that angle. Marone was 3.7 feet. So he stood on the first base side of the pitcher's rubber. He stepped across his body, and with that slot, by the time he released it, I don't know that we'd seen somebody deliver a pitch from that offset of an angle. And Jamie is a good example, but I don't know if it existed when Randy Johnson, Chris Sale, we could probably get it now, but I don't think we've seen that far offset of a release, and it was very awkward, and you can see why he's been so effective. And then you throw the secondary pitch in there that he was throwing too. It was a very tough matchup. He was tough.
What were your thoughts on the way the team bounced back after losing that first game on Friday?
Hey, that's leaving that stadium and the feeling you have to sit on that, and quite frankly, we were in position to win that game. We had Johnny in the game, and we felt good about it, and he really made one bad pitch, and they cashed in, and we couldn't regroup and recover in that game. The feeling you have when you relinquish it and you have to go home knowing that they have 2 very capable starting pitchers, so do we, so do they, staring down the next 2 ball games starting out, and really didn't use a lot of their bullpen either. So that was a key learning moment for me in the strength of the team to be able to regroup and really play two of our best games of the year back against the wall against a team that clearly played with a lot of energy and momentum, and it was well done by the guys. And then to put the game away, the 10-run rule, whether anybody likes it or not, it's part of the game, and the game is very offensive. And the strike zone has condensed. You're not getting pitches off the plate anymore that one time were called strikes. So when you get a chance to finish a game in a 10-run rule, you need to do it, because you look up and that might have been 15-5. If you're not careful, all of a sudden it's 15-9, then it's 15-10, and you could have a mess on your hands. So it's good to finish it in the fashion we did.
In the grand scheme of things, I know you talk a lot about looking at the macro, looking at the big picture. When you start talking about getting off to a 5-1 start in Atlantic Coast Conference play, playing Wake Forest, playing NC State, two of obviously the upper half of the conference, how important is it to get off to that 5-1 start and to not be chasing after everybody at the halfway point of the season?
Yeah, I mean, it's critical. And you look at our schedule, I feel like the schedule that we played all the way up to going to Wake Forest, I haven't looked that closely at the metrics of the strength of the schedule. I know I'm aging, and I've seen a lot of this, and I know a tough schedule when I look at it. So I think it's been challenging, and to have to go up there, that is a very unique ballpark. It's small. The wind was blowing. It's not Hauser. So you get so accustomed to being in your stadium. When you go on the road like that, figuring out how to function on the artificial turf, I don't think we've done that. And I mean, Texas was turf, but still dirt.
Yeah.
So really checked a lot of boxes in that series, and it gives you're up 3-love after one weekend, and that is big. And I will say, our guys pitched to shut two consecutive games of shutouts against that team in their stadium when anything seems to go out of the park. Remarkable. And Micah navigating and calling the pitches. The first one I know we extended. The second one was tight, and really most of that game the tying run was at the plate the whole game, and the go-ahead runs on deck. So laboring through that, Trey threw beautifully, but Micah's calling those pitches, and he's in Cary, North Carolina right now. So hi to Coach Posey. And Ty's in Des Moines, Iowa, and Brad's been in 2 places in Florida. So that's what they're doing. But I'll tell you what, the way he called that game, phenomenal. And the arms, we know our pitching is solid. They had 2 guys, I think, that were throwing 100, and 3 or 4 more that were 96 to 99. And our guys still managed it, still delivered some big blows, and clearly our pitch execution was as good as you could ask for.
Our truest hero of the series, we're going to go with Miles Bailey in that series. And you look at the numbers he put up, 4 hits, 3 home runs, a double, and got to the point where Sunday they just didn't want to pitch to him. So
they didn't pitch to him. It's not that they didn't want, they just didn't.
You get 3 intentional walks. He gets hit by a pitch. We're not going to get into that. But how important is it?
We can get into that.
How important is it then to have, Paulino goes 2 for 4 in that game Sunday, and Shmela goes 3 for 5 in that game on Sunday, to have those 2 guys stacked in front of and behind him when a team decides to treat him that way, that you make them make that choice. They made that choice, and you made them pay for it.
Yeah, the guys heighten their senses of the value of the at-bat. And then you've personally been challenged. I mean, in our sport, I don't know that there's a more direct way that you can challenge a player other than we're going to put this guy on so we can pitch to you. So let's go. And they did it, and our guys responded. And sometimes the quality of contact and all the good things that you might do still may leave you empty with a result. But the at-bat was good, and the result matched, and good for them. Those were key good moments, and it's going to happen often. Like they're going to find their moments to try to put him on. So we have to be able to back that up and deliver.
When you work with someone who knows a lot and cares even more, you're unstoppable. So start feeling like it today. Visit Truist.com/care. Truist, leaders in banking, unwavering in care. Truist Bank, member FDIC. We're at Bowden's in College Town. Bowden's is a proud partner of Florida State Athletics. Visit their website at bowdenscollegetown.com for weekly happenings, live music, and more at their FSU-themed restaurant. Make sure to mark your calendars for our remaining spring show. We'll be back here on May the 13th. So everybody make sure you mark that down, and we'll come out here and hopefully be talking about still in this same position that we're in right now, sitting atop the Atlantic Coast Conference and getting it done on the field. We'll go ahead and step aside. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about last night's game. We're going to talk a little bit about the freshmen. Got 3 guys in that starting lineup last night who are freshmen who have been doing a great job, and we're going to get into that and talk a little bit about the freshmen when we return. You're listening to Inside Seminole Baseball on Legends Global.
Your home. It's the one place that no matter how busy life gets, your friends and family can always find you. It's where they can show you they care, they want to celebrate with you, or they just have your back. That's why the professionals at Barano Heating and Air Conditioning are always available to make sure your home and all the people who love to share it with you are comfortable. Just like those who matter to you most, we will always be there for you.
Florida, home to pristine beaches, unique dining experiences, world-class accommodations, and the thrills that keep the young and young at heart coming back to the Sunshine State. From coast to coast, see what our 10,000 members of the Florida Restaurant and Lodging Association have been preparing for you. Exceptional eats, historic sites, and lodging to fit any budget. So whether you're here making deals or making memories, come get a flavor for Florida's finest restaurants and hotels.
It didn't start here.
But everything it stood for still does.
Some things change.
And some things never change.
Tradition, dedication to excellence, a program built on grit.
And driven by growth.
From the tunnel to the turf, every step forward tells a story.
Just like ours.
Where growth, determination, and a dedication to excellence meet.
Scott and Wallace.
When your health is on the line, Tallahassee Memorial Healthcare is here with the most advanced medical care in the region.
Welcome back to Bowden's in College Town, Inside Seminole Baseball. Eric Luallen here with you this evening. Lake Jarrett alongside. We're talking, well, Seminole Baseball, hence the name, as Florida State getting ready for another big weekend at Mike Martin Field at Dick Hauser Stadium with the Duke Blue Devils coming in. We'll talk about that later on in the show. Last night, we made the trek down to Jacksonville, took on the Florida Gators, and did not go the way that we would want it to. Tough conditions, but obviously both teams had to play in those tough conditions. And we're going to get some highlights here once again for the people in Bowden's. And I thought Cooper Whitehead was very good in that game last night.
Pitch great. You know, the fly ball to left field, I can't explain what the conditions were like. The wind was blowing 18 to 30 in from left. It was chilly. There's a great play by Coop. Hadn't seen that before. Just weird stuff was happening. The ball Chase dove for, and in that wind, that thing hooks and dives more. Just unique night of trying to play the game. Everything was soaking wet, and it's such a beautiful venue, and I know the guys were excited. Unfortunate result, but weird conditions.
This one is a good example of that ball started off towards center field, and it ends up in right field. That's just an example of what the wind was like there. And I'm going to use that to kind of segue in. We saw John Stutzer in there. We see Kelvin Paulino in there. A couple freshmen that were in the lineup yesterday. You also had Will Bavaro in there as well. Bavaro had gotten in there. Gabe Frazier had a little bit of an injury issue. Bavaro got a chance. He started 13 straight games now. He has reached base in every single one of them.
Done a nice job and played a nice third base. And when you have 3 freshmen in there, Miles knows what it's like. That freshman year, you're archiving information on pitching you've never seen. The speed of the game changes, and everything is exponentially increased when you go from what these guys have seen in high school and travel ball into the schedule that we've played. There's not a more drastic step that you'll ever take. Not in professional baseball. From what these guys will see going into pro ball or the big leagues, that step is much less than what a high school player sees when they jump into the schedule we've played. So those 3 guys, totally different players, all talented, all participating and helping. Stutzer has had some great moments. Paulino, the bat to ball, as good as I've seen out of a freshman. And Will, sound third baseman, more physical than you might think, and has gotten off to a nice start at the plate.
Well, and it's got to feel good for you as a coach when you do have guys, and you talked about having injuries, and you go through the course of a season, you have those injuries. To have guys step up and get the job done when they get those opportunities has to feel good as a coach. But when it's a freshman doing it, that's really got to feel good for you.
It does, and the way the game is played now in the landscape of athletics, when you have freshmen that are participating and they're active and they're performing for you, you look down the road and it makes the recruiting maneuvers a lot easier. That's what our staff is doing tonight. Like, the magnitude of what Micah, Ty, and Brad are doing on the road right now is massive. And when you know more about your young players, it's easier to look into the crystal ball for the following season or the following 2 seasons to try to build the roster correctly around what you know. So when you see it and you know it, you're much more accurate with your decision-making on who you add to the roster.
You talked about Stutzer and the tools. We saw one of those tools that maybe we overlook because it doesn't get seen as much, the arm. He threw a guy going first to third on a single. He's in right field, and he threw an absolute dart to third base.
Great throw. He does have tremendous arm strength. The throwing action, sometimes he flies open. It looks a little out of control at times, but the accuracy from the outfield is very good. And his closing speed, the way he can close and cover ground as he pursues the ball, shortens the throw. And then the regrouping once he's fielded it and the momentum to reload with his crow hop and actually throw, that generates lower body strength that transitions into the arm and the actual arm strength.
Kelvin Paulino, 10-game hitting streak right now. Obviously.
Knock on wood, I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, when you get a guy who's doing that, I mean, anytime a guy goes on that kind of roll, it's impressive. But, again, for a freshman, you've talked about his bat-to-ball skills. You mentioned it already tonight. What makes him so special at the plate at such a young, inexperienced age?
The pitch recognition, as I stated, they haven't seen this type of pitching. In the 1 week going into NC State, we saw 4 guys throwing 100 and 6 more 96 to 99. You can turn on these major league games that start tonight and not see that consistently. You'll see it. I had never seen it that consistently over a 4 or 5 game span. So pitch recognition is one thing. Pitch recognition with the velocity and the stuff of that caliber, that's a whole nother game. And he seems to be able to transition and recognize and take some of the tough. It's more the breaking pitch than anything else. He takes some tough breaking pitches that you do see guys, especially younger players, offer at and maybe chase, and he's done a good job. And then the strength is coming. We lift, these guys may know it, they may count them, 132 times as a team in a year. So the difference in their bodies as they mature, and there's natural maturity that occurs when you're 18 to 19 to 20. At some point, that's the strength gain probably stops, but it's full force right now. So the combination of the growth and the strength training, it's fun to watch these guys migrate through the program and look at what James Tibbs looked like when he came in. I have all the data. I have all the weights. I have the strength maneuvers. So to see those young players now knowing what the trend tends to be with the strength and conditioning, the drill work, the cage work, the practices, the sky's the limit for those guys.
How do you keep the freshmen? Because, again, they've played high school ball, they've played travel ball, but for them, you talked about the adjustment. For them playing 60 games in 14 weeks, how do you keep them from hitting a wall?
Well, you try to pick your moments. Like, we didn't practice today. I mean, mentally and physically, we thought just lifting was right. We got back at midnight, and then that's bus at midnight. Then you go in, you unload the bus. They have to take all the stuff to the trash. They've got to get their laundry in the equipment laundry bin. They got to shower, repack their stuff, get out of there, get home. I would venture to say some of these guys probably went to sleep at 2, 3 in the morning. I could not sleep after that. But I know what they're going through, and I was so mad I just went from the bus right to my car, went home. In uniform. Haven't done that very often, but every once in a while I did. Save myself some time.
There you go.
But so then today, what's the best management tactic for them and their bodies? Clearly we're practicing tomorrow, but a nice lift today to let them regroup and breathe a little bit. Those are some of the things we try to do to get the guys through the season. And I know as a freshman I played, and when I got to game 35, I was on top of the world, and then all of a sudden at game 36, 40, 45, 50, 55, 66, by the end, I out of gas because you're used to playing 25 or 30 games. So I know that this is coming for them. We just try to manage it best we can. And the games are long. They're 9-inning games, 3 in a row on the weekend and 1 in the middle of the week. It's a lot.
Carver's Discount Cleaners is mean on stains and green on earth. Try new Echo Green Dry Cleaning at Carver's Discount Cleaners, 1215 North Monroe Street in Midtown. And did you know that FSU Athletics is self-supported and isn't funded by tax dollars? We rely on fans to join Seminole Boosters so your teams have the best chance to succeed on and off the field. Membership starts at $5 per month and comes with great benefits. Go online to SeminoleBoosters.com to learn more. We talked a little bit about starting pitchers. We're going to talk more in depth about Wes Mendez and Bryson Moore and Trey Beard here in the next segment. So we've got that coming up. We are at Bowden's in College Town. This is Inside Seminole Baseball.
When your health is on the line, Tallahassee Memorial Healthcare is here with the most advanced medical care in the region. TMH is home to the top heart and vascular program, the highest level of care for premature babies, the area's most powerful cancer center, and the region's only Level 2 trauma center. TMH is setting new standards for medical excellence, driving research and innovation to bring the best care to our region. TMH is your lifelong partner in health.
Hey, your voice is amazing. Let him hear it.
When you work with someone who knows a lot and cares even more.
Give me a word, give me a sign. Show me where to look, tell me what will I find.
You're unstoppable.
I'm just getting started.
Well, I'm here to help.
At Truist, we believe the same is true.
Your home. It's the one place that no matter how busy life gets, your friends and family can always find you. It's where they can show you they care, they want to celebrate with you, or they just have your back. That's why the professionals at Barano Heating and Air Conditioning are always available to make sure your home and all the people who love to share it with you are comfortable. Just like those who matter to you most, we will always be there for you.
Welcome back to Bowden's in College Town. Inside Seminole Baseball, Eric Luallen and Link Jarrett here with you this evening as we talk about this 2026 Florida State baseball team and sitting beautifully right now in Atlantic Coast Conference play. Can't get in better shape than first place.
Last time I checked, you're right.
Yes.
You could be undefeated in
Yes,
first place. But
that's true, but-
So far, it's early, but yes, that's where you're trying to be.
Odds are beaten here. Wolfson Children's always here, official Children's Hospital of Florida State Athletics. And, Coach, one of the things that we do each game, we do a Scott and Wallace Keys to Success. Scott and Wallace, the official injury lawyers of Florida State Athletics. Scott and Wallace with offices in Tallahassee. And I know that we have talked about this a bunch. One of the keys to success for this team that is built around the starting pitching is what Wes Mendez does when he goes out there, Trey Beard, Bryson Moore, what those three guys do on those weekend matchups. So when you obviously had Wes Mendez here, you picked up Trey Beard and Bryson Moore in the transfer portal. Talk a little bit about how Trey Beard and Bryson Moore complement Wes Mendez as far as setting up the weekend when you take on an opponent.
Well, they complement each other because we tried to get the best available pitchers we could out of the portal when that opened. And you have 12 drafts. We had more draft picks than anybody in the country. So you're trying to replace some serious octane on the mound and at the plate in the field. Tough stuff. Good for the development of the players, and they're on their way, but to recycle that with 23 new ones, the portal opportunities presented some older pitching that was available, and we did a good job of landing guys that have helped us as starters and in the bullpen. Then when you start to dive into what the team looks like and we see it, it didn't take me long to figure that the starting pitching and their ability to lengthen outings, not just on the weekend, but our Tuesday schedule is as tough as anybody's midweek schedule in the country. Like, there's no breathers. So if you can get to the point of 4 starting pitchers that help you, then your bullpen stays a little more sharp. They're not worn down. The stuff is usually a little bit more dynamic. And we felt that this team needed to be built around the longevity and the outings of the starting pitchers, supported by short stints of some of the relievers. And a short stint, like we've had guys throw 50, 60 pitches out of the bullpen, which is on the longer end, but we're not asking them to do that twice in a weekend. So Abraham got that outing, and Purcell had a longer relief outing, but that supports the starting pitching. If they can lengthen the outings, then the bullpen requirements are far less, and they usually stay a little bit more dynamic.
Last year we had 3 lefties in the rotation, but they were 3 lefties who were all different pitchers. They were stylistically, they were all different. Wes Mendez, Trey Beard, similar repertoire, but still completely different looks that they give the opposing teams. How important is that?
Well, game planning and just the comfort. And I will say that if Wes throws on Friday, the game rarely ends with Wes finishing the game. And hopefully at some point it'll happen, but our bullpen's a little right-handed, so even if you do have left, right, there's usually something that breaks it up. So the hitters don't go home like kind of seeing the same thing that they might start the game with. So that's in play. Mendez, his secondary pitches are a lot different. Even the changeup, we throw a lot of changeups. Those guys both have great changeups, but they're completely different in the metrics of the pitch itself. Mendez's changeup has so much horizontal movement, where Trey's a little bit less. The arm speed with which Trey throws it, and he hides the ball very well. It's just a totally different pitch. Sometimes Mendez, just the pure movement of it and the change of speed is a ticket, where Trey, the deception and the arm speed and the way it plays off of the fastball, and Trey throws it to the left-handed hitters as well as any left-handed pitcher I've ever seen. And sometimes that's not a comfort factor that left-handed pitchers have. And Trey's got it. Wes more the slider and the cutter to the left-handed hitters. But totally different, great, and growing and learning. And there's things they take in every time they pitch, and the feel and the development, whether it's game management, whether it's grip, whether it's effort level, whether it's a visual targeting lesson that they teach themselves in game, where to start a pitch. The sky's the limit for those guys. Bryson Moore too. Bryson's a little more traditional as a righty. Change up, really 3 breaking pitches, and then the fastball life was as good as we'd seen it against NC State. It was in the bottom of the zone, which is where he needs to be. Some guys can get away in the top of the zone. Bryson needs to be down. Trey can be up a little bit, and Wes needs to be a little bit more down. So they're all different and special in their own way.
We talked starting pitching. We're going to take a deeper dive into the bullpen here in the next segment. So we've got that coming up next. You're at Bowden's College Town. This is Inside Seminole Baseball. Link Jarrett here alongside. And you are listening to Inside Seminole Baseball from Legends Global.
Your home. It's the one place that no matter how busy life gets, your friends and family can always find you. It's where they can show you they care, they want to celebrate with you, or they just have your back. That's why the professionals at Barano Heating and Air Conditioning are always available to make sure your home and all the people who love to share it with you are comfortable. Just like those who matter to you most, we will always be there for you.
Florida, home to pristine beaches, unique dining experiences, world-class accommodations, and the thrills that keep the young and young at heart coming back to the Sunshine State. From coast to coast, see what our 10,000 members of the Florida Restaurant and Lodging Association have been preparing for you. Exceptional eats, historic sites, and lodging to fit any budget. So whether you're here making deals or making memories, come get a flavor for Florida's finest restaurants and hotels.
Welcome back to Bowden's in College Town. Inside Seminole Baseball, Eric Luallen and Link Jarrett here with you. And Link, we talked starting pitching in the last segment. I want to get a little bit into the bullpen and really specifically the construction of the bullpen. So you've got high school recruiting, you've got the transfer portal, you've got junior college. When you start assembling that pitching staff and you talk about the starters and you talk about the bullpen and roles, do you get to a point where you're just looking for dudes that can get it done, or are you trying to mesh styles to try to have a variety in the bullpen?
Well, you're looking for dudes. And then when the dust settles and then you have to get through the draft, like Micah's event tonight revolves around a player that signed and, he may be drafted in the first round. So who do we actually get through the draft that makes the decision to come to college with the high school kids, in some cases the junior college players. So the dogfight of recruiting is very unique in our sport because we're really the only sport that you don't have to go to college. So that opens up a whole new dimension. And with the draft in July, and you're trying to put this thing together to start the fall semester, once the draft signing period, end of July, has come and gone, that's what you have. So we try to find as many high caliber pitchers as we can, and then you land where you land. And in most cases, we're well over because we know the draft is going to strip us back of our roster in-house, and then what are we going to lose from a recruiting standpoint? You recruit some of these players in baseball for 2-3 years, and then you get to that moment in July, and off they go to the Yankees or the Braves or the Marlins, and that's that. So you just keep hunting the best guys you can hunt. The only thing I'll say we try to do is we try to make sure we have left-handed balance with the right-handed balance. I don't know that that's ever going to be completely even, but you don't want to be completely right-handed. And I don't know if you can ever be completely left-handed, but if you're not careful, you don't want to be too right-handed.
Yeah.
That's about the only thing we press not to be.
When you get guys from the junior college level, you get high school guys, you get the guys from the portal, how much time do you have to spend to get them used to doing things the way Florida State does things? Because whether they come from high school or junior college, they play for coaches who do things a different way.
Totally different. I didn't used to have meetings before practice, and I have a meeting every day before practice because you don't have as many returners that can help teach as you go. We would go stretch, and if I had a meeting, we had it in the dugout, and we talked about what we were doing at practice, and off you went. I've reverted almost, I think, like football coaches do. You have a chalk talk session and try to explain this stuff, and we spend 15 minutes, and I started doing that a few years ago. Started doing it at Notre Dame. When I was new to the team, I started doing that and carried it over, and with the roster turnover and the transfer pieces that you add, you have to fast forward every aspect of the teaching and the system that you try to put in place so that they understand it. And it is really the most drastic change in what you're building. At one time, you had so many guys that migrated through the program. Now, it seems as though you have a team, and you hope you have a good team in 2026, and then you're going to have a team in 2027. I would say that the roster with the draft and other factors will give us 20 new players again next year, but the rosters are going to 34. So the days of 40, those days are going to be gone. So Cal Fisher understands everything we're doing. Miles Bailey's been in the system. Trey, this was new to him. So fast forwarding the growth and understanding of what you're trying to do, it's so critical. Not only in baseball, I think if you ask any coach that in this era, it's so important.
When you work with someone who knows a lot and cares even more, you're unstoppable. So start feeling like it today. Visit Truist.com/care. Truist, leaders in banking, unwavering in care. Truist Bank, member FDIC. We've got the Duke Blue Devils coming to town this weekend, another Atlantic Coast Conference series. Coach is going to be with us for one more segment. We're going to preview that Duke series, take a little look at the Blue Devils coming in. They've got a new head coach, Corey Muscara from Wake Forest. He was the pitching coach there for 4 years. So we'll chat Duke Blue Devils and Florida State baseball. Coming up next, you are listening to Inside Seminole Baseball. We're at Bowden's in College Town, and this is Legends Global.
It didn't start here.
But everything it stood for still does.
Some things change.
And some things never change.
Tradition, dedication to excellence, a program built on grit.
And driven by growth.
From the tunnel to the turf, every step forward tells a story.
Just like ours.
Where growth, determination, and a dedication to excellence meet.
When your health is on the line, Tallahassee Memorial Healthcare is here with the most advanced medical care in the region. TMH is home to the top heart and vascular program, the highest level of care for premature babies, the area's most powerful cancer center, and the region's only Level 2 trauma center. TMH is setting new standards for medical excellence, driving research and innovation to bring the best care to our region. TMH is your lifelong partner in health.
Hey, your voice is amazing. Let him hear it.
When you work with someone who knows a lot and cares even more.
Give me a word, give me a sign. Show me where to look, tell me what will I find.
You're unstoppable.
I'm just getting started.
Well, I'm here to help.
At Truist, we believe the same is true for banking.
Welcome back inside Seminole Baseball. We're at Bowden's in College Town. Link Jarrett, Eric Luallen here with you. And Duke coming to town. They've got a new head coach. They're sitting at 17-10. They're 4-5 in the conference. They've got a conference win against the Miami Hurricanes in their first year under Corey Muscara. And he's a former National Assistant Coach of the Year. He did an outstanding job with the pitchers at Wake Forest. We still see his handiwork. Those are those pitchers you were talking about, the guys that he recruited and got there. We look at this series. FSU has won 7 of the last 10 series going back to the 2010 season. What can we expect out of the Duke Blue Devils this weekend?
They really like to run the bases. I mean, the stolen base totals are off the chart. I'm not sure at this point I've seen the numbers that I see on their stolen base totals. So we have to manage that on the mound and behind the plate and clearly in the infield. Very balanced lineup, left and right-handed hitting, very balanced, tremendous roster turnover. And when Chris left and went to Virginia, some of those players went. And we have one that didn't. And there's a lot of movement when you have a coaching change. So tremendously different roster look for them, but very talented, really like to run, athletic, and capable on the mound. One guy back for them on the mound that's kind of been a mainstay for Duke.
And we should have very good crowds this weekend because who's going to be there on Friday night?
Well, we have – what do we have? We're in all white, and we've got – help me.
Marching Chiefs.
The Chiefs. That's my
Marching
fault.
Chiefs, baby.
That's my fault. Yes.
Marching Chiefs are going to be there. Always a great atmosphere when we get the Marching Chiefs in Hauser.
And I knew that. And it's going to be overflowing. Some of the things we've done, all the different parts of making Hauser better and cleaner and the Hauser Green. And they've been in now, 5-6 games. And it's just a remarkable atmosphere, something very unique to the sport. And I think it carries nationally when they're in there. And it just adds such a touch to college baseball.
And Saturday, we're going to have another packed house. We've got a lot of parents coming into town this weekend, Florida State parents coming into town this weekend, so we should at least have a couple of sellouts this weekend. It should be loud and raucous, and I know that's how you like it.
Love it. And we had an umpire from Pro Bowl, so he was behind the plate in one of the games, and it got out of hand, and they kept telling him, okay, you're going to get to some places in the league where it's far different. And at the end of that game, he walked by and he's like, now I know what they're talking about when we were coming to Tallahassee to deal with this. And Elliott was running around doing the spin move, and everybody was chirping, and the fans were the fans, and the animals and Johnny Mack, they were rocking and rolling. So great.
Rook, you bring up Elliott Avent, Sunday's game.
Yeah.
Exchange the lineup cards. It's usually the two head coaches. It was not the two head coaches in that game on Sunday.
Yeah, well, JT was coaching first base, and he's been through a lot with Elliott. 2 trips to Omaha and playing for 5 years. So Elliott forced him. He didn't want to do it. He told Jen and I, he's like, I'm not doing that. He's like, I don't want to do it. He told us the story after the fact. And Chris Hart, who I coached that played here, just a fantastic guy who's the recruiting coordinator at NC State, they convinced JT along with the team, you're going to do this. So it was a really special moment for me to make the trek up the steps and walk out, and then here comes JT. So I'll never forget that feeling I had when he walked out there and the look on his face as we talked about any travel issues and things that were going on with the instant replay from the night before. And the look on his face, I'll never, ever forget it. And there were thankfully some really good pictures.
You have to tell your players constantly they've got to control their emotions. Did you do a good job controlling your emotions in that moment?
I did. I did. And I actually was worried about it. But the intensity and the magnitude of the game, I think it helped me carry through that because I knew how important the game was. So that helped simmer anything else that could have come up at that moment. And it was in there, but just the excitement overall won the day.
FRLA is proud to support FSU athletics, bringing unmatched rivalry and heart-pumping competition to the Big Bend region. Sporting events boost the local economy, filling hotel rooms, restaurant tables, and creating unforgettable experiences for residents and visitors alike. To learn more about Florida's hospitality industry and the events we support, visit frla.org. And that's going to do it for Link in this part of the show. We're going to hear from Miles Bailey.
This is what they really want to hear now. You had to just get me out. Just get me out of the way and let the fellas take it.
When that kind of thing is going on, you've got to keep teasing it and teasing it and teasing it, and then you give them the steak.
Well,
they got the appetizer now. Now you got to give them the steak.
They're
Trey and Miles.
The filet mignon and the ribeye.
So we're going to hear from Miles Bailey next. We'll also hear from Trey Beard coming up. This is Inside Seminole Baseball. We're at Bowden's in College Town, and we'll be right back. You're listening to Legends Global.
Your home. It's the one place that no matter how busy life gets, your friends and family can always find you. It's where they can show you they care, they want to celebrate with you, or they just have your back. That's why the professionals at Barano Heating and Air Conditioning are always available to make sure your home and all the people who love to share it with you are comfortable. Just like those who matter to you most, we will always be there for you.
Florida. Home to pristine beaches, unique dining experiences, world-class accommodations, and the thrills that keep the young and young at heart coming back to the Sunshine State. From coast to coast, see what our 10,000 members of the Florida Restaurant and Lodging Association have been preparing for you. Exceptional eats, historic sites, and lodging to fit any budget. So whether you're here making deals or making memories, come get a flavor for Florida's finest restaurants and hotels.
It didn't start here.
But everything it stood for still does.
Some things change.
And some things never change.
Tradition, dedication to excellence, a program built on grit.
And driven by growth.
From the tunnel to the turf, every step forward tells a story.
Welcome back to Bowden's in College Town, Inside Seminole Baseball. Eric Luallen here with you. We want to thank Jarrett for taking time to chat with us, and now we bring Miles Bailey to the stage. But before we get to him, we want to say thank you to Grassroots Coffee for your support of Florida State Athletics. Order the coffee that supports the Noles at grassrootscoffee.com. Grassroots Coffee, made for everyone, loved everywhere. And speaking of loved everywhere, I think anywhere that is garnet and gold clad is going to love this guy sitting to my left, Miles Bailey. And we get to the Seminole Boosters player segment here. We're going to have a couple of them. And Miles Bailey off to a great start. First thing I want to ask you, before the season started, one of the things that Coach Jarrett does, he has the teammates, he has the team vote on who the team captains are. You were voted by your teammates to be one of the team captains. What did that mean to you to have that honor bestowed on you?
Yeah, I mean, it meant everything. I think that was one of my goals coming into the year, was to kind of be that guy to my teammates and be able to have that vote and then pick me was kind of just took some off my shoulders, and it was awesome to see those guys recognize me as that.
What kind of things do you do in the clubhouse when it comes to leadership? Like, are you a verbal guy, or are you one of those lead by example guys?
Yeah, I'm definitely more lead by example. I'm not too loud, but I mean, if there's something that needs to be said, I definitely will, but I'm for sure a lead by example guy.
So we saw in the game Sunday, you got intentionally walked 3 times, you got hit by a pitch. Obviously, they didn't want to throw much to you. So when that happens, I know that can get frustrating for you. How do you try to stay on an even keel there and not go chasing after pitches if they're just throwing it up there, not intentionally walking, but also not putting it in the zone for you?
Yeah, I mean, I know I got good guys behind me, and also it's a free base, and they give me extra stats if they're doing that. So at the same time, it's not a bad thing because it's helping the team. And I know I got guys behind me that are going to pick me up, so I'm not worried about it.
So the run scored is just as good as the home runs for you.
For sure.
And you lead the team in that category, and if they're going to put you on, if the guys around you are producing, you're going to run up the number in that category 100%. Too. So Nathan Schmela, he was behind you in that game Sunday when they walk you intentionally 3 times. Kelvin Paulino in front of you. He goes 2 for 4, so he's creating traffic there in front of you. What's your feeling when you get to first base and Nathan Schmela he had three hits and 5 at-bats. When he delivers like that, what's that feeling for you when you're out on the base paths and you see that happen?
Yeah, it feels awesome, especially when they hit doubles and stuff like that. I get to show off my speed, so when I get on first and they hit the doubles and stuff, I get to score from first on that, so I love that.
You know, I can do this. We look at your size, and there tends to be this thing that you want to qualify and say Miles Bailey moves well for a big man. But Link and I were talking about it a couple of games ago. It's not that you move well for a big man. You move well, and you're a big man.
Yeah.
So in high school, you played outfield, you played third base. First base was not a big thing for you. So you had to learn that position. What was the most difficult thing for you learning first base when you got to Florida State?
I think just doing like the little things that I didn't know before that, like the way I needed to catch the ball and create spacing when the ball was coming to me, and like where I needed to line up and how I needed to play certain balls, just like the small things that I wasn't already introduced to before I got here, just doing those things consistently and bringing it to the field every day.
Now, I'm not sure many people know this, but in the fall, you actually did spend a little bit of time playing in the outfield, playing third base, and you absolutely think you could step in and do that, right?
Oh, 100%, for sure.
Okay, all right. I don't doubt it one bit.
Yeah.
I don't doubt it one bit. What feels better? Scooping a ball out of the dirt for the third out of an inning or solo shot?
Solo shot, for sure. Yeah.
So we've got Duke coming to town this weekend, and I mentioned before we've won 7 of the last 10 series for Duke. Overall in that series, as we get to the Bowden's history of the series, Florida State has a pretty commanding lead, 84-30. It dates back to 1954. We've got the stats up there. You know a good bit about this history. You're a Tallahassee kid. You know the history of this program. How important is it for you when you see some of these historical things that Florida State has done to try to keep Florida State at the level that they've been at the whole time you've been alive and even before that?
Yeah, I think it's super important, especially now that I'm a part of it. I think it's kind of my job and our job as a team to kind of continue that tradition and keep doing what Florida State's always doing. So, I mean, it's big, and no matter who we're playing and what series, we got to continue to win. That's what we've always done.
Well, we appreciate you coming up. We've got Trey Beard coming up next, so thanks a lot.
Yes, sir.
Keep doing what you're doing out there. Keep the guys straight in the clubhouse, and let's keep this season going. You are listening to Inside Seminole Baseball. We're at Bowden's in College Town. We'll talk to Trey Beard coming up next, and this is Legends Global.
Florida, home to pristine beaches, unique dining experiences, world-class accommodations, and the thrills that keep the young and young at heart coming back to the Sunshine State. From coast to coast, see what our 10,000 members of the Florida Restaurant and Lodging Association have been preparing for you. Exceptional eats, historic sites, and lodging to fit any budget. So whether you're here making deals or making memories, come get a flavor for Florida's finest restaurants and
It didn't start here.
But everything it stood for still does.
Some things change.
And some things never change.
Tradition, dedication to excellence, a program built on grit.
And driven by growth.
From the tunnel to the turf, every step forward tells a story.
Just like ours.
Where growth, determination, and a dedication to excellence meet.
Scott and Wallace.
More Inside
Baseball.
Welcome back inside Seminole Baseball from Bowden's in College Town. And the Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles is here to remind you that if alcohol is in the mix, driving isn't. Plan ahead, designate a driver, grab a ride share, or stay put. Winning starts with smart choices. Drive sober, arrive alive, and go Noles. And we are joined by Trey Beard now, one of our weekend starters. You'll see him pitch Saturday against the Duke Blue Devils. And Trey, you were at Florida Atlantic for your first 2 years of college. You're a Dunedin kid, Dunedin Falcons. Not far. I'm from Tampa, so I know all about the Dunedin Falcons. What's it been like for you pitching in this atmosphere that you get at Mike Martin Field at Dick Howser Stadium?
I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing. The amount of people that show up every game and are willing to, be loud. We've been to other places that had a lot of people, and it doesn't get as loud as Dick Howser. So being around the animals and all the boosters and stuff, it's just been awesome. It's an awesome experience.
So you've gotten a chance, Mike Capozzi, obviously your pitching coach here at Florida State. So you had another pitching coach at Florida Atlantic. You come up here. We talked with Link about getting acclimated to the program. What kind of things have you done with Mike Capozzi to help you advance and get to where you are right now?
Yeah, he's very good at attacking the weak stuff in your game. I feel like we've looked at all kinds of technology, if it's TrackMan, stuff like that, just to look at what we got to work on, develop shapes a little better, and I feel like he's very good at finding those weak spots and attacking them. I feel like that's what we did all fall, and it's been working pretty well so far. We
had that conversation with Link about Wes Mendez and your changeups, and obviously that's one of your pitches. That's your bread and butter. What goes into throwing a good changeup? Like what's the mechanics of it, the mentality of it?
Yeah, I would say deception's a big one. I think my arm angle, and I feel like you just got to make that pitch look like it's going to come in at 100. I feel like that's the thought process on the mound, and it just doesn't get there quite. So I feel like making the hitters uncomfortable with that deception and stuff, I feel like that's a big thing with the changeup.
Talked about Miles Bailey, one of your captains. We've got Cal Fisher, another one of your team captains, out here in the audience today. And Miles talked about being a lead by example guy. Who's the cut up in the clubhouse? Who's the guy that keeps it light in the clubhouse?
I would say we got a ton of guys that are pretty unserious when it comes to the clubhouse. It's pretty funny. I would say a big one is Dowd. Dowd's a pretty funny guy in the locker room. I would say he's pretty. You just don't know where you're getting out of him.
He spent time in California, so he's got to be a little bit off center there to spend 2 years out in California, I guess. Well, Trey, we certainly appreciate you joining us here today, and you've got Duke coming up this weekend. As far as your preparation to start against a team like Duke, very quick, what goes into preparation for that?
Yeah, I like to prepare for all my starts the same. The goal is to win, no matter who you're playing. So I feel like you just gotta go on with that mindset, and it's business. You got to go after them. I think that's how I think.
All right, Trey Beard. Everybody give a hand to Trey Beard here. We appreciate you joining us. We appreciate Miles Bailey coming up here and joining us. As always, thank you to Link Jarrett. He is wonderful with his time as far as helping along this program and getting information to you guys. And we appreciate all of you coming out here tonight, here to Bowden's at College Town. We'll have another one of these coming up in May, so come out and join us there May 13th. But again, we appreciate you joining us here tonight. A round of applause for everybody here tonight, everybody at Bowden's, and thanks for coming out.